Every week, we meet parents who are exhausted from trying everything: behavior charts, diet changes, various therapists, and yet their child still struggles with transitions, the sleeplessness, and sensory overload. And when they seek answers, they receive labels like ADHD, anxiety, and autism. Now, these labels accumulate alongside appointments and bills, but no one addresses the true issue. It's a nervous system that's stuck in chronic stress, which we refer to as busy brain syndrome. And today, we're going to explore what this is, why it occurs, and how to address it. So, I want to share something that happened recently at our office. There was a 15-year-old kiddo that came in, rock star of a kiddo that spent her entire life in a wound up, worn out, wired, never calm state. Anxiety, meltdowns, sensory challenges, and never able to sleep. So her family had already tried everything, but no one had looked at the nervous system. So the first time that we made a gentle adjustment to the upper neck, the atlas and the axis, or these two top bones right here, it was actually like hitting the pause button. Everything calmed, and it was still for the first time in almost 15 years. Now, that's not a miracle by any means. It's what happens when you finally address the foundation. So, research shows that maternal cortisol, the stress hormone, it actually crosses the placenta barrier and directly affects how a baby's brain structure forms. So, elevated prenatal stress is associated with increased risk for behavioral and emotional challenges in children. So, the nervous system dysfunction often begins before the child is even born. So, let's talk about what busy brain syndrome actually is. So, your child's autonomic nervous system, or what's called the ANS, has two modes. Think about them like a gas pedal and a brake pedal. So, the gas pedal is our sympathetic nervous system, controls fight or flight. It's designed for short bursts of stress, not all day operations. And the brake pedal, which is our parasympathetic nervous system, is what helps your child calm down, sleep, process emotions, heal, and connect. And it's controlled largely by the vagus nerve. And in kids with busy brain syndrome, the gas pedal is stuck down. So that sympathetic system, fight or flight mode, is firing constantly, keeping your child in a chronic state of alertness and reactivity. The sensory threshold is dramatically lower than other kiddos. So things that feel minor to you feel genuinely overwhelming to them because their nervous system is already at capacity. So, how this develops is what we teach parents so often about as what's called the perfect storm. And it happens in three phases. So, the first is prenatal stress, maternal cortisol. The stress hormone that gets released under stress actually crosses the placenta, leading to changes in fetal brain structure and increased risks for behavioral issues. So, a stress pregnancy can set a baby's nervous system up for overreactivity before birth. The next step along the way is birth trauma. So, interventions at delivery, such as forceps, vacuum extractions, difficult labors, these can actually impact the vagus nerve, leading to nervous system dysfunction from day one. And then there's early childhood stressors once they're here, earthside. The additional stressors like antibiotic overuse, ear infections, excessive screen time, and the chaotic environment add to an already compromised nervous system. Now, each phase compounds the previous one, leading to a brain that's locked into protection mode, hindering development, their sleep, and their emotional connection as the child grows. So this is how busy brain shows up as your kid, right? Their sleep challenges. They struggle to wind down. They're tossing and turning during the night. They experience racing thoughts and anxiety and frequent wakings, right? Some kids may actually feel physical tension, leading to stomach aches or headaches at bedtime. We see this across the board with kids where the busy brain syndrome, the speech and communication starts to struggle. So, actually, effective communication requires executive function and the ability to filter distractions. So, when we're overwhelmed by stress and too much sensory input, kids actually lack the capacity for higher level communication. Now, emotionally speaking, we start to see quite a bit of dysregulation. Children may have severe meltdowns over minor issues and experience long recovery times after being upset. The inability to calm isn't drama, the brain can't de escalate. We see this across the board, whether it's ADHD, spectrum, anxiety, all of these kids, is that there is sensory overload and behavioral patterns. So kids may cover their ears. I have some kids in the office that at some point needed headphones going out into public or going to school. They may avoid certain textures or have some big food aversions or seek intense physical input like crashing and jumping as a coping strategy. So movement helps them self regulate during this heightened tension. Socially, we see this a lot because when we are in survival mode or if the brain is perceiving threat, the brain's actually going to prioritize fight or flight survival, making it harder to read social cues, engage socially, and build relationships. But a regulated nervous system is essential for these healthy social interactions. So let's dive into why therapies plateau and what changes when you actually start addressing this neurological foundation. So across the board with my kiddos, I see OT and speech and ABA and vision therapy or play therapy, cognitive behavioral. Like I see all of these different therapies that kids are in. And these are genuinely valuable tools. We're not here to replace them. But when the nervous system is stuck in fight or flight mode, those therapies are working against a foundational problem. You can think about it like this: you can't remodel a house that has a cracked foundation. Or you can think about it like pushing a car with the parking brake still on. The therapists are pushing hard, they're doing the work, and your kid's trying, but the nervous system is the brake. So, neurologically focused chiropractic care uses the insight scans to objectively measure how much stress and tension is locked into your child's nervous system and where exactly it's creating this stress, tension, and interference. But on the flip side, gentle and specific chiropractic care, oftentimes to the upper neck, specifically the atlas or the axis or those top two bones, which is where the vagus nerve is the most vulnerable, actually helps to restore proper communication between the brain and the body. So we can think about this stuck state of stress and tension as what's called subluxation. It's the chiropractic fancy word for stress stuck on. And it's a combination of stuck joints and the neurological interference that disrupts the brain body communication. So when the foundation is addressed, everything built on top of it works better. OT makes faster progress. Speech therapy starts to click. The behavioral strategies put in place are actually working because the child's brain can finally have the capacity to learn, to regulate, and to adapt. So if your child is stuck in this cycle, the meltdowns, the sleepless nights, the sensory struggles, those therapy plateaus, you don't have to accept that as a permanent picture because there is a path forward and it starts with addressing the foundation. So we're not asking you to give up everything that you're already doing. We're asking you to look at what might be underneath all of it. So the team here at Haven Family Chiropractic in Katy, Texas, we use neurologically focused chiropractic care to find where stress is locked in, measure it objectively, and help your child's nervous system find its way back to calm so that every other therapy and strategy that you're using has the best possible chance of working. So check the link in our bio, DM our office, or schedule directly on the website. Your child doesn't need more labels, they need more answers.